Repeat transform is a function that allows you to easily replicate any motion that you create in Illustrator. And it can help you create things like a sun that has like little spikes around it, a medieval morning star or a mace, or anything that is going to have some kind of thing that repeats along a shape. Let me go ahead and give you a quick example. I'm going to grab this polygon here, and I'll put it right here. I'll go ahead and give it a color, just a random color. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply hold down the Alt or Option key, and I'll click to move this over like so. Now what Illustrator did was pretty much take a little recording of what I did here. It knows how far these two are, and what I did, I simply duplicated it. If we go to the Object menu and look under the Transform category, you'll see that it says Transform again, and the shortcut is Command or Control D. So if I go ahead and just choose this, watch what happens. It transformed this again. So I can hit Command or Control D, and I can duplicate that, and these guys will be equally spaced. Now as you can imagine, this could be very handy. You want to create a diamond necklace, or you need to create a wooden fence, or anything that has to duplicate and be exactly precise. Now I'm going to show you a really nice way to use this. I'm going to create a little sun icon. So I'm going to grab the ellipse. I'm going to hold down the Shift and the Alt or Option key so I can draw it right from the center like so. I'm going to give this guy a fill color of yellow, and I'll get rid of the stroke. Don't need that. Then what I'm going to do is grab my pen tool, and I'm going to draw a little spike, like where this part, let me just go ahead and do that again, like something like this that would go around the sun. So how would I get this to duplicate and go around a path like this? Well, if we go to the View menu and we choose Outline Mode, you'll notice that we have this little X here. This is the rotational pivot of this particular object. Now what I want to do is somehow take the rotational pivot of this guy and match it to this, so when I duplicate it in a rotational fashion, it will go all the way around. So what I need to do here is, with this selected, I need to click on the rotation tool here, as you see. So I click on the rotate tool, and you see a brand new thing up here. This little targeting icon here. This is the rotational pivot of this selected shape that I just finished drawing. Now what I could do is, with this crosshair that is the icon, is I can click where I want this shape to revolve from. Currently, if I try to rotate it, it will simply rotate around its own center. I want it to follow the rotational source of this guy. So I'm going to click on this X as close as I can, and you see the green guy moves down. Let's go back to the View menu and choose Preview Mode. Now what we can do to rotate this is hold down on our keyboard the Alt or Option key, and we can duplicate this spike, and notice that it just follows the circumference of this object, because the pivot point, once again, is that little green target right there. So I'm going to put it right about here. Let's say right there. And don't forget, Illustrator was paying attention. It knew that I rotated it, and it knew exactly the degree. So instead of going to Object, Transform, Transform again 15 times, I'm going to hold down the keyboard shortcut. So here we go, Command or Control D. And I'm just simply holding both buttons down. And now we have, ta-da, we have a nice sun, or we have the beginnings of a ribbon. So let me go ahead and grab this whole thing, press Command or Control G to group it. I'll hold down the Shift key and scale this down. And we'll continue this illustration by grabbing our pen tool, or we can go ahead and grab the rectangle tool and add a point to it. So let's go ahead and actually change the color of this to blue. We're going to make a blue ribbon here. All right. So we're going to take this tool and we're going to draw it over here. Don't forget, you don't have to draw everything right where it belongs in Illustrator. You can always move it over. Now that we have this rectangle, let's grab our pen tool, hold it down, and grab our Add Anchor Point tool, and we'll click right in the center like so. Then we'll grab our Direct Selection tool and we'll move this point up. Then we'll grab our regular selection tool and we'll move this guy right here. I'll deselect it, and congratulations, you just won first prize. So as you can see, using your imagination and using the very most basic shapes, we can create very complicated artwork. Now granted, it's not very complicated, but surely there is nothing in here that has this shape. This is simply an ellipse, a rectangle that has a point removed, or a pen shape that we drew ourselves, and a rectangle that we added a point to create a ribbon. Of course, you can finish that off by adding some type if you wanted to. Add first, increase the size of this, throw it right in the middle, and give it a different color. And last but not least, we can even take another rectangle, believe it or not, and put a little rectangle like so with a white fill, and you have yourself a first place ribbon.